When custom rotation was released, one of the appeals of it was getting to build decks that couldn't actually exist at the time because of balance changes that happened after those specific formats. Unfortunately, with Throwback Rotation, they reverted any balance changes to the same state as they were in the original format, so even that bit of enjoyment is taken away from us. Or it would be if there weren't some cards that actually dodged this reversion. Cards adjusted due to balance may be reverted, but cards that were changed due to like weird interactions or mechanics tend to retain their changes. And this was actually the case with Wolfrod last month as well, in case you didn't know. In this throwback, we have Rat Magician, which underwent a pretty drastic change later on in the game, but actually still retains those adjustments right now. The credit where it's due, I didn't realize this on my own. I only found out about it because a Japanese YouTuber, Zenon, made a video about it. And today I decided to take my own approach to trying to use this card in Throwback Rotation. And when it comes to trying to make use of gimmicky runecraft followers, one deck immediately comes to mind. So here's Sephie Rune, but with some added rat magic for a twist unique only to this Throwback Rotation format. So this is the deck list we're running today. As you can see, there's a lot of weird stuff going on. So first, before we talk in detail about the deck list, let's make one thing very, very clear. This deck is absolutely awful. And you will see that I cherry-picked like the 3 or 4 actually good games I had with this deck. I played like quite a few games to get enough footage because I lost most of them really badly. Because this deck sucks. Not only is Sephie just too slow for the current format, we're also running a bunch of random crap that is kind of useless, so just keep that in mind. This deck isn't meant to be good or anything. If you want to play it yourself for some reason, do it at your own risk. So let's talk about the deck list. First things first, we have to talk about Rat Magician, of course, the main card we are trying to use this time. We can see the effect is now 3 cost 2/1. Fanfare transform an enemy follower into a Flame Rat, which is a 1/1. Deals 1 damage to both leaders at the start of your turn. And then the evolve effect summons a Rat Magician at the end of your opponent's turn every turn, which is like weirdly like kind of useful. Like you can get 2 damage face every turn, or you can use it to clear board. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not a good card or anything, but it's pretty funny, and the transform is pretty interesting as well. There's some applications which you might see later on in the games. Wink wink, nudge nudge. The other questionable package we are running in here is of course Garuel and a bunch of high cost neutral followers here. You can see that we don't run a Giant Happy Pig. The reason why we don't run Giant Happy Pig is because this deck has not enough healing for that extra health to ever matter, and you're better off playing other cards for 6 PP instead, so we don't bother running Giant Happy Pig. So Garuel's main discount targets are Angel of Chaos. Angel of Chaos has some weird synergy with Rat Magician because Rat Magician transforms an enemy follower, which activates Angel of Chaos's effect to transform all enemy followers into fallen angels, which is pretty funny, and we do summon a lot of followers, so we have the Rally 10 effect active. And then it's sometimes useful just as a ward. Once in a while it comes in handy. Then in Glass, similar situation here. It's just a big neutral follow. If you can cheat it out with Garuel, it's pretty okay. Other than that, it's like, I don't know, it's just there. I just wanted some shiny big followers to run in the deck for fun. I didn't really think that hard about it, to be honest with you. So yeah, this is the deck list we're playing for today. Let's look at some games. So our first game here is against Shadow, and we are going second. Shadow tends to be Ghost Shadow, so we don't really want to be going second against them because Ghost Shadow is a very, very strong going first deck, but I mean, we just do what we can, I guess. I decided to save my best game for the first since most people don't watch the full video anyway, so I might as well show you the best game first so you can at least get the best experience for the few minutes you choose to watch this video. So for the mulligan, we just look for Angelic Star Sitter as well as our condemned card. Sephie is most important, of course. And then we just do send the Sephie things for the early game. Just try to summon test subjects, get our count up. There we go ahead and keep Rat Magician. We've used the other 2. Flame and Glass isn't super useful against Shadow, so not really any point keeping that, I don't think so. Home to the Rat Magician, it's actually, this is a matchup where the Rat Magician is actually unironically good for getting rid of annoying followers. And a Sephie here, which is pretty nice. Can we pick up Babkatha here? There is an option of using Rat Magician to transform Lucius, but we want to save it for more priority targets like Masquerade Ghost especially. So we go ahead and just hold on to the... We take some damage here, but not much we can do about that, to be honest with you. Industrial, and there's the Ship of Morning Souls. This is a trick that Ghost players tend to do where they leave Ghost of Morning Souls on board on turn 4. In this way, even if you clear it, they summon 3 ghosts, and then next turn they play Masquerade for a full board of those big ghosts, which is usually very annoying, but in this case we actually have the counter. So first we fuse, of course, to get our test subject count up, and then we can use Rat Magician to transform this Ship of Morning Souls, which gets rid of all those ghosts that we won't have to deal with, replacing it with a 1/1 follower that we can just use to chip some damage on my opponent's face. And there's the Masquerade Ghost as we expected. As you can see, our board is very nicely below 5 attack, so they can't evolve and trade their Masquerade Ghost off, even if they wanted to. And then we just go ahead and use Sephie to transform Masquerade Ghost here. I think prioritizing getting rid of Masquerade Ghost is more important than trying to save the Sephies for some OTK. They don't have that much healing anyway, so you can probably chip them down with the Rat Magicians and then use 2 Sephies to finish them off at some point later on. So for now we go ahead and chip them down here. If they have another Masquerade Ghost here, they can evolve it and trade into my Sephie, which will guarantee it next turn, which is mildly annoying, but I don't think there's much I can do about that. So there is their Spectral Sorceress in the Freya, so it looks like they didn't have another Masquerade Ghost, which is good for me. And there's the Lucius as well. Probably should have traded first, but I don't really think it matters. They do evolve the Lucius here to trade into my test subject, I guess, to get some damage going face. And Loyal Ghost Pub as well. Yeah, now Mikhail, not great, but not too bad. And there's our Mikhail. We can go ahead and heal up here to make sure we don't take too much damage here. At this point, we just need to get our test subject count up to start looking for lethal with Sephie, so go ahead and use the Obsessive Scholar, try to pick up more condemned cards, draw deeper into our deck. And then we can go ahead and get some big drain off this big test subject, even though, I mean, we already have 18 health, so we don't really need it, but never hurts to have it, I guess. Of course, we trade to leave our followers on board, and then you can see Rat Magician really putting in the work, chipping them down here. You can see here, Mikhail puts them at 16. Normally the limit for Sephie on turn 7 is 15 damage, but with Rat Magician we're up to 17. So as long as they don't heal, we actually do have lethal. Or they could pull out a bunch of wards, we will also miss lethal that way, unfortunately, but most probably looks like they can't do it. I was expecting Ghostly Banishment this turn because even with Ghostly Banishment we will have lethal here, but my opponent didn't have Ghostly Banishment. Actually no, if I had Banishment I wouldn't have lethal because Rat Magician gets killed. Oh well, I guess they didn't have Banishment, lucky for me. You can see they are putting in the work to clear my board here, not knowing that they are already dead, so we take a bunch of damage. And out comes the Rat Magician. You can see the rare game where the Rat Magician actually put in a ton of work in this game, so we can go ahead and finish them off with the Sephie combos. Fuse your entire hand, of course, to make sure you don't misplay the wrong cards. It's an anti-misplay tag, it's not BM. And then we can play the main body to give them all Storm, and this is a nice 17 damage lethal, so let's move on to the next game. Our next game here is against Forest, and we are going first. This deck is very heavily reliant on aggro because of the lack of healing, so going first is definitely good for us. Also means Rat Magician can put in more work, plus we can chip them down and then finish them off without having to rely on OTK. Sephie's OTK is on turn 8, which is not really reliable in this current meta where everything dies on turn 7. There's Plumeria, so this is probably going to be some Castell or Fairy Forest deck. Hopefully we can not get too brutalized in the early game. We're quite weak into this deck because we have very little healing, but we are going first, so that's hopefully some advantage here. Got the Angelic Babysitter here, we can just play it for a body, for some rally, I guess, and just to have more followers to deal with the opponent's board. And we drop Devoted Researcher here. Next time we can accelerate 4 and they will all have Rush, so that's what we're looking at right now. My opponent does just go wide and try to pressure me. Go ahead and make some board space to play Devoted Researcher here. We can go ahead and trade. Then just hit them in the face for some damage here. Opponent does play Nobilis here. I could have technically played around it a bit more and have 2 test subjects surviving instead of just 1, but only chipping the 2 damage is more important, so we go ahead and play it this way, I guess. And there's the fairy as well, and another fairy, so we do take a bunch of damage here, which is very uncomfortable. Fortunately for us, we can get rid of some of that damage with Rat Magician. Oh, this was I was playing with a different list at this time. I still had Giant Happy Pick here. I already cut it out, but at this point in time, I was still running it. Go ahead and fill Sephie here just to get the more bodies, I guess, and we just trade. And we leave them the Flame Rats to just chip them down a little bit here. My opponent does summon more of their Nobilis fairies, and there's the Rainy as well. Flame Rat can't. Rainy only evolves fairy followers, so they can't evolve the Flame Rat of her evil effect, which is pretty funny. Then this turn we can erase even more followers with Angel of Chaos here. You can see our opponent is still only at 7 forest followers because we keep transforming their stuff into non-forest cards, but that's fun. And then we just Evo Phase here because I don't really see a way of surviving past the next turn, so what I have to do here is try to kill next turn so we chip them down as much as possible. Evolving Flame Rat here maximizes the chances that it survives, since Angel of Chaos should be quite difficult for them to get through. Since very well, I guess if they have a Tamlin then I die, but like if my opponent has a good hand, this deck doesn't win in general, so we still have to pray that doesn't happen. My opponent trading their followers into my Angel of Chaos to clear. That's the Plumeria. Comes their Mate and Rainy as well. Go ahead and trade their Plumeria, and they do have another Plumeria, so this is pretty bad for us because they can heal out of our lethal range. Opponent does evolve the Fallen Angel as well. Another hand is like 1 Mei, 1 Rainy, and 1 other card that I don't know what it is. So I guess they just chose to go face here. I guess they didn't I don't know why they underestimated leaving this Rat Magician alive, but because they left the Rat Magician alive, I have lethal this turn. So yeah, another game where these weird transforming cards actually do some work. Of course, I did get lucky a bit. Well, not a bit. I did get pretty lucky, and my opponent does misplay, but realistically, that's the only way I'm winning with this deck. But we're just here for the Rat Magician, and you can see the Rat Magician putting in some work here as well. So let's move on to the next game. Our last game for today is against Dragon, and we are here going first. Our best bet for winning this matchup is that they don't have Giant Happy Pig. If they don't have Giant Happy Pig and you find enough Sephies and Babcathas, you can just set up lethal, but outside of that, you are kind of screwed. Yeah, this deck's not really very good, is it? So we'll go ahead and just play the Star Sitter on turn 1 for Tempo. Try to start chipping them down. Our hand is pretty heavy, but Sephie is basically just infinite cheat followers, so that's fine. We go ahead and get rid of the Angel of the Gospel and the Chaos Angel. Chaos Angel isn't great in this matchup, so we can go ahead and get rid of that. There's the Asvault, so this looks like, well, it could be any dragon really. I don't really think Asvault is enough information to go off of to identify the opponent's deck. I choose to fuse the Olivia and Sylvia and the Angel of Gospel, mainly because I made this, the entire purpose of this deck is having an unhealthy obsession with making Rat Magician work. So we go ahead and keep the Rat Magician in our hand. Arguably it might have been better to fuse it off, but who knows really. And here once again we keep the Rat Magician, just go ahead and play Obsessive Scholar. And just go ahead and keep pressuring them in the face. Thankfully for us, they have a pretty weak early game, so we can hopefully make use of that to put a bunch of damage onto their face. Just the Kyrie and the one-off Adamant Claw here. I guess they played it just for to make sure they don't mill whatever they draw here. And there's a Feathered Lizard as well, which will be able to clear my test subject. Which is unfortunate for my ability to deal damage to their face. But we'll just go for the standard Rat Magician play here. Of the Rat Magician to get the leader effect. Great as well. And then with Sephie, we can just summon a nice test subject here. We are already at 4. I shouldn't have traded here, that was a misplay. The 1 damage from the Flame Rat could actually matter here. Yeah, that was probably a misplay, but well. There's that giant happy pig. We'll evolve and then trade into our test subject. Unfortunately for them though, because they left. Well, it doesn't matter, because they didn't heal is more the problem. Because they didn't heal here, I just ended up having lethal with Sephie. But keep in mind that even if you had 4 test subjects, after 1 field, Sephie will reach 5, so you can play her. Even though this has less attack, if it has enough attack to finish them off, doesn't matter if you don't get the full 5/5 test subject off with Storm. So that's it for this game as well. Bit of a short game. So those are the games I have for you today. You can probably tell, even with like a pretty high rolly hand, you still can't win very easily with this deck. It's just that bad. That's why no one's playing Sephie on ladder right now. Yeah, but I mean, hopefully you got to see Rat Magician do some work in a world where he normally wouldn't get to do anything, because the old effect wasn't anywhere close to this. So hopefully this deck made some good use of Rat Magician's new effects. And that was basically the whole point of this video. So yeah, that's it for this video. Don't play this deck unless you want to lose a lot. See you next time. Bye bye.